for example, we do clover, which is quite a new product. This, from sustainability, is a great product. I started growing that as it's a weed. Basically, it grows as a weed in my greenhouse. It's also good for crop because it adds nitrogen. So farmers en masse grow red clover on their farms just to improve the nitrogen. So we just pick the weeds in our greenhouse at the moment, and we've just done a crop. We've just planted a crop of it. So now my staff, when they're weeding, they just weed around it basically and just let it grow. So it's sort of creating its own little atmosphere, and it tastes beautiful. Like, it's really sweet, it's really hearty, got a great shelf life. So those sorts of things to consider is that we're utilising everything around us. And in regards to the pest and disease, speaking of sort of maintaining the greenhouse, basically we abide by organic practices. So everything that we do in a greenhouse, we are not certified organic. Our greenhouse had not been touched for 8 years when we moved in. So we're 10 years, they say, of withholding between when you can be certified. So we're almost there. We only use organic sprays. We work with an agronomist who's an agricultural consultant to make sure that everything that we use is abiding by those organic practices. We also work with a botanist who assists us with, for example, planting not companion planting in a permaculture way, but sort of looking at using products that are going to work well next to each other to manage pests. And sort of he consults me once a month just to see how the greenhouse is going or ways that we can improve it, so that we're just maintaining an environment that is less prone to pest and disease. We also we do a lot of companion planting. It also comes down to maintenance. So I have staff that work set days every week, and they just look at maintaining the greenhouse. So turning over a plant, so not planting the same thing in the same spot all the time. Weeding, that's probably one of the best ways to manage companion planting. And then we compost. So everything that gets pulled out of the greenhouse, it goes out back into the soil, breaks down, gets mulched, and that's how we manage that. So we're using our own water, which comes from the rain hits the greenhouse, goes into the dam, and then everything that we grow in there, we're pulling out, and then we're mulching it. So it's a good sort of circle of life in that sense. So that sort of gives you a rundown on the greenhouse and sort of how we work. We are also always looking to innovate with products. So if you ever have any ideas of anything that you want us to be growing for you, anything of interest, we're always happy to talk to you about that. We've got areas that we keep for doing experimental product. We're also looking to do, particularly for the winter months, you guys are the first ones that I've shown these to, but we're going to release a range of dried flowers. Now, people might say that there's not the same appeal as the fresh flowers, but for some varieties, the year-round availability of dried flowers has a lot of potential. So, for example, this is a cornflower, and you can see the intensity of the blue hasn't really changed.
Imagine that in a consumer or something like that.
Yeah, so it's got a good shelf life. We can sell it all year round. If you put it, for a pastry chef, for example, if they put it on a cake, it's not going to shrivel. Cornflower doesn't really, but it's a really great product in that sense. We've got cornflower in 3 colours. We also have calendula, which once again, you can see the intensity of colour. In fact, I've got a in calendula flowers so I can show you the difference in. So it's a great way of delivering a product or offering a product year round. There's also a lot of flavour and a lot of scent as well. And rose petals, which have quite a specific season. Once again, these have a beautiful scent and great for like a cafe on a beautiful porridge or nurture. Fantastic product. And also the pansy petals, which you wouldn't believe, but actually are quite gorgeous and still quite colourful. So this is a range that we're going to be doing, which will be available online, or you can order, and it's a really easy product to deliver to you. So that, and also crystallised flowers, so crystallised violets and rose petals. So there'll be a lot of different options. And also we have also been talking about doing a range of limited edition microherbs, which Lindsay and I have been talking about. So not your stock standard product, will be importing seed. So the botanist that I'm working with has registered quarantine facilities so that we can import seed and do anything that's a little bit edgy, a bit different. Where if you've ever got any ideas, if you have a chef and you say, look, dream, what would you like? What do you want? What can't you get? That's something that we're
rosehip. Roger's always asked me about rosehip.
Rosehip? Not as a microgreen though.
Oh, as a flower, sorry.
Yeah, just the rosehip. So I could have given you a heap of them when we were growing in June. Yeah, so that sort of, we're always expanding, trying new things, and like now is a really good time for us to start experimenting because the soil's warming, so there's a lot of different products that we can grow this time of year. So yeah, and I've brought along, so you're welcome to taste any of these varieties. I've just brought along a range of different flowers that you can try.
How long does it take to grow from seed to bloom?
Well, it entirely depends on the plant. Something like, and the time of year as well. So something like mustard at this time of year will grow quite quickly and flower for quite a long time. Whereas in summer, it will probably grow at twice the rate, but then flower for a couple of weeks. So a couple of weeks versus a couple of months. Something like viola will usually take 6 weeks from seed to seedling, and then another sort of 4 to 6 weeks to get it to flowering. Rosemary, extremely slow growing, takes a long time to establish the plants and get them to flower, takes a few years. So it really depends. Linaria is a really, really fast growing variety. And it all depends on the season as well. So, but you could say, look, 12 weeks is probably a good guide for most basic sort of annual varieties.
Thank you.
What's the best temperature to keep them at?
Once again, like I was saying before, sort of having 50 children, they are all so different. And being on a hill as well, that helps because we basically have 2 climates. The top is significantly warmer than the bottom, where the dam, and we've got a creek bed at the base. So it's also a lot damper and cooler at the bottom. So something like cornflower actually needs a lot of water. If it doesn't have water, it just goes brown and dies. Whereas some other varieties like rosemary, they don't like a lot of water. So we sort of plan the greenhouse for the top and the bottom. So I've got viola planted at the top and the bottom. The top grew at twice the rate and is flowering at twice the rate. Once it starts to heat up, that will die off, and then we'll have the base, the bottom, which we'll use. So,
how long do they last once they're picked in their punnets, and how can we tell our chefs to store them properly?
So we say that the shelf life, depending on the variety, is anywhere from 7 to 21 days, depending on the variety. Then they need to be refrigerated, but not too cold. I generally suggest about 4 degrees. If it gets too cold, they're just like lettuce. They just sort of go all see-through and veiny, basically.
Okay. Yeah.
So basically, one thing I've noticed dealing with Jocelyn's flowers is Jocelyn's hence she's having a lot of her flowers, all of her flowers grown in ground, Whereas a lot of other competitors out there, they actually go hydroponically through fertilizers and stuff like that, phosphorus. And you can see if you have, like as Jocelyn said before, you have like a kind of violas, say for instance like a B&B, it's another grower, Jocelyn's, and you can put two pumps together, and you can see the B&B one just turn. And they grow, they'll allow microherbs, where they're a bit more of a mass producing, where it's not actually attention to details, it's gone out the window, you know what I mean?
The other thing to think about too is if you have a lemon tree and you put it in a pot or you put it in the ground, what's going to look better in, over a period of time? Just growing in the ground, when you've got that amazing soil substrate, it makes such a difference. You have a stronger plant, you have a better quality plant, so as a result you get a better quality flower, a sturdier flower.
One thing also for with all those like mustard flowers, brassica flowers, broadbean flowers, it would really be good to get out there and start really pushing those varieties for side dishes. It's quite often not. If you go to a grill restaurant, you get like a piece of meat, and they say don't get a side. It's usually beans tossed in butter or whatever. You imagine it's like mustard flour. We're actually putting that promotion through, saying, look, I've got something really cool. Spruce up the side dishes. If you have a look at the quantity of flowers, then it'd be easy 200 plus flowers in the mustard flour.
Yeah.
Run it.
Yeah, we actually put on this product list, I actually put an approximate number of flowers as well. So, for example, with broadbean, there's about 100. I painstakingly do a bit of a count on them. Mustard, say about 100.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.